Hello, Alphas and Sigmas, and welcome back to another episode of Wolf Theory Podcast with me, Chaxley Bronner.
And me, Jack Hammer.
Now, in this episode, if you're an easily triggered kind of person, we're gonna need you to click away.
Now this is a no-holds-barred psychological deep dive into the issues which permeate the roots of our society.
That's right, we're gonna be touching all those sensitive areas today. Touching them all. Touching them real good.
Now, we've been receiving calls all the time since our last episode dropped, and it has become glaringly apparent that we have the woke left triggered.
Totally triggered, dude.
And we are 100% dedicated to the right to free speech in our great nation. So, we thought we would invite some of those whining liberals,
Totally whining.
onto our show.
Whining.
To debate us head on.
Whining. That's right, so if you have called us in the last month since we've released the podcast, we will be calling you back.
We will.
To debate, because we promised to debate alphas, omicrons, and sigmas, and that is what we are going to deliver to you.
So, our first debate question is, Chexley,
Should women be allowed in space?
should women be allowed to go up into space? And it looks like we got a caller on the line right now.
Yes.
Women should not be allowed to go into space because their ovaries are gonna blow up.
You are on Wolf Theory Podcast. Please discuss your thoughts on this issue.
About what?
Should women be allowed into space?
Woman? Space? I thought this was a serious podcast.
It is serious. We think they suck. We think they shouldn't go to space because their ovaries are gonna explode.
Of course. Women are fragile. Everybody knows that. And when are you going to bring me a real talking point?
Well, we'll keep you on the line for our next question. Thank you very much. You've been very
I
insightful.
actually need to go. My mom's going to kill me.
Alright, so while that was a very insightful conversation with a very intelligent individual, it was not a debate.
Not
and we
a debate.
promised you a debate. So we are gonna do more calls until we can find someone that will actually debate us, goddammit. Why doesn't anyone
Sorry about that, everyone. Chexley will be back in a minute. Just a couple of technical difficulties there. So we did promise you a debate. So we are going to ask the same question to a new caller. Now we have about 5, 6, 7,000 callers on the line ready to talk to us. But we're going to pick the one we think looks most interesting. Here we go.
Hello.
You are on Wolf Theory Podcast. Today's issue is, do you think that women should be allowed into space?
What the fuck? Yes, I do.
That's actually wrong because their ovaries will actually explode if you put them in space.
And we do not know enough about the presence of lesbian space diseases.
We haven't explored all of space, right? So, there might be lesbians up there.
There might be lesbians out in space, and also the planet Venus could be turning the women gay. Now, what are your thoughts on this?
I do agree with the lesbians in space part, but I'm not sure. I feel the Venus part seems like a bit of a conspiracy theory to me.
Only that part seems like a conspiracy theory to you.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you very
We
much.
don't know what alien sexualities are.
No, we can't be assuming.
Yeah, we can't be assuming, sexualities and stuff.
Have you enjoyed your time on Wolf Theory Podcast?
I love my son. Thank you very much.
Goodbye.
Alright, so that was a pretty insightful call, right? We managed to get a little bit of debate out of that one. But we are going to talk to you, the audience, now. In case you really didn't pick up on why women shouldn't go to space, what we feel as high-value men about this issue.
Because there's clearly, there's a right answer to this question, and we are on the side with the right answer.
We are on the side of the right answer. And don't call us sexist because this is genuine scientific fact.
Genuine, confirmed by all of the scientists.
Yeah, every single scientist that has ever lived said, you can't put the women in space because the actual vacuum of space, it's like a vacuum, right? It sucks stuff.
Yeah.
So it'll actually suck all the eggs out of their ovaries
The
and
pressure,
make them explode. And
the
then
pressure
they can't get pregnant.
is, it destroys the women's
Yeah.
ovaries.
And obviously the lesbians issue, I think we explained that pretty thoroughly.
The lesbians
But
issue is
there's
my point of concern.
one more problem that we didn't mention, and that is actually that being in space as a woman will actually make your boobs saggy. Saggy. And no one wants that, right? So if you're a woman and you're thinking about going to space, then just, have a second thought. I've never had a second thought about anything. I only have one thought.
No, but that's because the
that's
first
because we are
thought
men.
is always
That's
right.
because the first thought is
we're
always
men,
right. Exactly.
and the first thought is always right.
Exactly. Unless you're a woman. So if you're a woman, don't go to space. Thank you. Alright, so to segue on from this point about women in space, I would like to raise another prevalent issue that I feel is far too normalized in our society.
And it's directly related. Directly related to
Alright.
the issue of space, okay?
So our next debate topic is, can a woman have a dog?
Can a woman have a dog? Now, this is a very nuanced and interesting question. If you're a real fan and you watched the last
The
episode,
first episode of Wolf Theory.
The first episode-
This is for all the real ones out there.
this is for all the real fans. You know that a dog is like man's best friend, okay?
Man's best friend.
Now-
That is the operative word here.
The women are starting to co-opt our best friends. You know, the men of the world. We have a best friend. That's our best friend. You can't take my best friend away from me, okay? Give me back my
shit.
best friend. Now, before we divulge our correct opinion on this topic, we're gonna bring in another caller.
Get a caller on the line.
We've got thousands of callers on the line.
Millions.
But the first one we're gonna call, we're patching him through now.
Hello?
Women can't have dogs because it's man's best friend.
That's man's best friend, by the way.
You are currently
No,
live
no,
on
no,
Wolf Theory podcast.
No, women can have dogs because of liberalism and feminism. Yes, feminism.
But we hate
I love
liberalism.
feminism. I'm a feminist.
No!
See, the problem with feminism is that it's actually evil and we hate it,
Feminism is actually created from the Latin word for femina,
which
which
is actually in Latin, which means it's actually about the demons.
it means it's a demonic curse.
Actually, you guys are man-hating liberals. I can't.
No.
We don't hate men. I love men. I love men.
I have blue hair. and I work in a coffee.
No.
No.
You're everything that represents our enemy.
So can you explain to us actually?
I have blue hair and I am a liberal. I'm putting you guys on speaker so I can talk to my other blue-haired friends who are also liberals and work in coffee shops.
Oh my
You see what this proves? This proves that the liberal agenda, they're meeting up. They work in hives.
I'm a snowflake, so I need to put you on hold. Okay?
Oh my god. You see what this
See,
proves?
we
They
can't
work in
have
hives.
snowflakes on the podcast because they put us on hold, and that holds the.
I've unholded. Let me hear you out. Let me hear your points out.
Alright, so listen. The argument is this. It's as follows, alright? Women can't have a dog because that's actually cheating.
That's technically cheating on their
Because
male
the thing
companion.
about dogs is that when you're with a man, they view you as a pack mate, alright? Because we're wolves. We're
Yeah,
all wolves.
yeah.
So it
We're
views
all
you as a
wolves.
pack mate. But when you're with a woman, they view you as just a regular mate. You ever wonder why your dog humps the furniture? It's because it thinks it's you, bro.
Yeah,
So
that's
that's why
why.
you can't have a dog as
That's
a woman,
why.
alright? So
Yeah.
what would you argue against this?
I would argue that I have 200 abortions a day, and I perform transgender surgery on everybody I meet.
You see what we mean about these liberals?
Compelling argument.
My argument against your point is that women need to have abortions. It's necessary. It's a human right. They have one every day, and it will just be amazing for their health. A fetus is not alive, but a dog is alive, and therefore dogs have more rights than unborn babies. Yeah.
Thank you very much. We'll have you on the podcast again for a further debate. I will
Thank
see you later.
Thank you. Goodbye. So, as all our viewers can see, we swayed that liberal with our pure intellectual powers. We swayed that
Intellectual
liberal.
powers,
we
bro.
swayed that liberal to our side. And this is proof that the liberals, they're just normal people like us the true alphas, but they just don't know.
They don't know the truth because the media is so left-leaning that they've
The media
just been indoctrinated with...
the media indoctrinates them into this leftist view of life, you know. So it's proof that these liberals, they're really good people at heart, but they can be swayed back to our side from their evil dark side.
So, we've had one caller on the line about the dog issue, and we managed to turn them to our side, or reach sort of a common ground, if you will.
yeah.
Common ground. Grinding ground. Sorry.
Grinding.
Grinding. Right. So we are gonna actually now
Other men.
get another caller on the line.
Yeah.
About the dog issue, just to really raise awareness for this, and also because we are such good content creators that just bring you guys all the debate you could ever want
Yeah.
or need. So here's
You
our
know,
next
we bring
caller.
you a special kind of debate where
Yeah.
we only really
Yeah.
kind of platform the people who agree with us. You know what I mean? Because like, if you're not agreeing with us, like, what are you even doing? You know what I mean?
What
Like,
are you even doing here? Like, you're not a high value male.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
not on the same wavelength that we are.
yeah, and you know, we can only present out of good faith to our viewers, who you know we influence the lives of. We can, in good faith, only present the right viewpoint,
Right.
and the right viewpoint is obviously going to be the ones that agree with us.
Yeah,
you know what I
right.
mean? So
Because we're alpha. We're
we're
alpha
alpha.
males.
We're
and we
different.
Make bare
You know,
bang.
we're Omicron, and we are. You know, we're high value, high attitude, like geniuses, really. And we're very rich. You know, we're very tall.
Like, I don't mean to brag, but I think bragging is actually a social construct that was made to devalue men.
Bragging
Alright?
was absolutely made to devalue men, because all it is men sharing their achievements with the world.
Men
and you know,
should share. If a woman brags, that's a different thing than bragging. That's just being a slut. But
Yeah,
as a
yeah.
man, you know, I feel like we really need to share our achievements against each other.
because in a world that's so competitive, you know, men need to work together to be
Men
the
need
best.
to come together.
They need to come together. Like,
Yeah.
they need to be one. Men need to unite.
They need to be within each other.
Okay, so with that in mind, we're gonna move on to our next caller.
You are currently live on Wolf Theory Podcast.
Our question for you is:
Can a woman have a dog, or is that cheating? Please discuss your thoughts on the matter.
In my opinion, I think it depends on what you're into. You can't really trust them, can you?
No, that's a very good point. You should never trust a woman.
He said, isn't existing just cheating?
Yes, 100%.
absolutely,
Yeah,
we agree.
absolutely.
We subscribe to this.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you
Colin.
very much, caller. We'll get you back on for another talk next episode.
Alright, so before we go, we wanted to leave all you guys in the audience because you know you're all guys, and if you're a woman watching this, why?
What are you doing? What could this
Why?
possibly benefit you?
What could this bring you? Anyways, there is actually a global conspiracy going on, okay, against
Something-
us men, against us high value men.
Something has been brought to our attention which has shaken us to our core, and we
Yeah.
feel we have a duty to our fellow
men, our
fellow
fellow
high
men.
value Omicron men to bring this to all of your attention.
Alright, so recently, okay, I went out for a date for a chick and she was like, let me pay, and I was like, red flag.
Absolutely. a red
And
flag.
I stood up to
Absolutely.
walk away right there and I was like, you're a whore.
I
And
pointed.
then she pulled out this bank
I
card
was there, by the way.
Yeah, he was there as well,
I was
yeah.
watching, like,
from another table.
kind of jealous. But
Yeah.
yeah, I was watching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She pulls out this bank card. Nat West. All
Now,
right? So this
Now that
immediately-
might not mean anything to you, my uninitiated viewers, but Nat West.
the name sent a chill down my spine, right? Because I saw that and I knew. Nat West. That's not a bank. It's a name.
That's
all right?
Natalie West.
It's a woman's name. It's
That's-
Natalie West.
That's Natalie West from our old high school. Okay.
Yeah, we went to high school with a girl named Natalie West, so you can take this from us. And she took economics, so you know this is serious.
You can never, I repeat, never
Never.
trust a woman with money.
Yeah, so this is when I realized this was something a lot more serious. We narrowly escaped having all our money stolen by this global conspiracy, Natalie West.
Absolutely, all of our
Because
money would have gone.
had this woman paid
Woman,
with this card, basically it would have gone out into the 5G network.
the 5G, the Wi-Fi,
The
it's all
vaccines,
controlled by the women.
the-
The vaccines, they actually contain estrogen, but that's a point for another time.
That's a different
Yeah.
episode.
Yeah.
Basically, this NatWest scheme, what happens is the women open the bank accounts.
Yep.
They start to go out with a man.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
the man says, "Oh no, don't you pay? I'll pay for you."
Yeah. Yeah.
As when they see the card, it
Yeah.
says NatWest.
Yeah.
And that is how she steals your money.
It actually tricks them
Because
with like
through 5G, it
female
goes into the NatWest
hypnosis.
account. So this is a global conspiracy in which every woman in the world is involved. And I'm shocked the media isn't bringing more attention to this.
Oh, me too. I mean,
Absolutely
you
shocked.
get, you know, coverage of like the gender pay gap and, you know, all that irrelevant stuff like that. But then the Nat West scheme is staring you right in the face and no one seems to talk about it.
No,
you know, it's almost like
no.
it doesn't exist.
So basically, if you see a NatWest card on your girl, you gotta go. You gotta leave.
They're,
you gotta
they're,
leave.
they're bounding together and pooling all the men's money and using it for
like shopping.
They're schemes.
And
They're
stuff,
shopping.
and shoes.
You know, you heard about this new retail therapy thing. You know, this idea of women have to go shopping. Now, this is just an excuse to drain their men's money using the NatWest accounts.
NatWest scheme.
And I mean, I don't have this on perfect intel, so don't trust me. But I know in my heart that the liberals, they're involved. You know, the liberals are involved.
Yeah.
And now it's
You
also
know-
come to our attention that the new hive mind of the liberals is actually based out of a supercomputer in a place called Woking. Okay, now it adds up, doesn't it?
Yeah. So I have got callers from the United Kingdom who have called in about this place Woking before,
Yeah.
and they've said rainbows like hellfire,
Yeah.
litter the streets.
Apparently, there's just like gender
And there's
changing
abortions
surgeries
happening
everywhere.
on every corner.
Every corner you can't turn it without someone having
and
a pride
men
parade.
kissing.
Men kissing I mean,
We're
we're
gonna
actually
go
we're
to
actually gonna
Woking
go. Yeah.
Because we need to get get rid of it.
We need to make
Alright,
sure
we need
that,
to-
that there's nothing going on there
Yeah, we need to-
firsthand, you know.
Because maybe it's just an innocent city with an unfortunate name.
Yeah, maybe.
My
But
gut instincts
my
as
God.
a man are telling me otherwise.
yeah.
So, to all you guys out there, thank you so much for listening to the podcast.
Thank
you
you so
are
much for the
guys.
support. You know, it helps us every day to know that in our
There's
hearts
legions of men.
there's
Yeah.
legions of men, you know, and we're martyrs for them. You know, we protect
We're at
them.
the center.
When
We're in
we get
the center of them. And I'm so proud that we've created this safe space for men, this place
yeah.
for guys to hang out, this spot for guys, this guy spot, this
G's.
we can't call it.
No.
Okay. Well, thank you for listening, everybody.
Thank you
to
so
this
much,
episode
everyone, for
of
tuning in.
Theory.
Thank you, my alphas, my sigmas, my
My
omicrons.
Omicrons especially.
Stay alpha.
Stay Sigma. Stay Omicron.
Stay rebelling against the grain as well. Stay rebelling against those liberals, and
Stay
remember,
rebelling against the G-spot.
remember, if you see NatWest,
The grain.
turn the other way.
And we'll be back again shortly with another episode of
War Theory.